Hey, what's up guys? Kool-Aid here. Today we're going to be talking all about Rhino, the merc who's as wide as he is tall, moves at the speed of smell, but yet still manages to get an ace faster than you can say Rhino is overpowered.
I like this bloody great thing about it. You need to stab you. Typical.
So as most of you probably know, Rhino is the tankiest of all the mercs with 200 hit points, but he's also the slowest with a speed rating of 360. Yes, he feels like a slug if you're used to playing some of the faster mercs out there. Rhino has 3 shotguns to choose from as primaries, but unlike most of my all about videos, I'm not going to go over all the stats simply because you'll hardly ever be using them. But just for a quick rundown, the Holland's A80 and the Rimberg 7 are going to be very similar in how they function. Both are going to be very short range with high damage potential. Inside of that range, the Arnold 12 is going to have a little less max damage potential, however will give you a little added range. Out of the 3, I'd probably recommend the Arnold, but like I said, you're probably not going to be using your primary weapon too much, and I'd go with whatever comes in your desired loadout card. Now, Rhino's primary and only ability is the minigun. This is what you will be using for the majority of your kills on Rhino. It has a body damage of 10 at a rate of fire of 1800 rounds per minute, giving it a body DPS of 300. So yes, it pretty much melts anyone within its somewhat limited effective range of 14 meters. Of course, with it being a minigun and all, it has a massive spread, which is also a massive factor in limiting that range. The minigun also needs to be spun up before it will fire. The spin up time is not long, however it is long enough where you don't want to be taking too much enemy fire during this time. The minigun also does not use standard ammo, but instead will overheat similar to stationary MG turrets. You can hold down the trigger on your minigun for 5 seconds before it will overheat, and if it does overheat, there will be a 5-second cooldown where you will not be able to use your minigun at all. Also, just having your minigun out does come with a small speed penalty, and if you're spinning up your minigun or firing your minigun, your movement will be severely decreased. Also, you will not be able to jump while doing either as well. And I haven't said this yet, and as it's pretty easy to figure out if you played Rhino at all, but you can pre-spin your minigun independently of actually firing it by holding down the right mouse button. This way, as soon as you fire with the left mouse button, there will be no extra spin up time. It does, however, give off a very loud and distinct noise that can alert smarter enemies of your position, or at least that you are in the area. And we'll talk about more how to use the minigun in a minute, but first I want to go over some loadouts and augments. Rhino does have a couple unique augments, one being ice cold, which increases the time it takes for your minigun to overheat by 40%, and the other being nitros, which decreases the spin up time of your minigun by 50%. Unfortunately, you can't get both of these on a single card, and in fact they only appear individually on one card. Now with that being said, I really don't think ice cold is that great, and definitely not a must-have. However, nitros is really good. Cutting that spin up time in half is great for when you don't want to give your position away, or if you just get caught off guard. Now, I did say it only appears on one card, the R93 Power Close Assault, and unfortunately, that card also has what I think is the second best augment for Rhino, which is Unshakable, which is going to reduce damage you take from explosives by 20%. And this augment is pretty good for any merc, but especially good for Rhino, since your biggest threat will be mercs who can use explosives and abuse corners, where you will be spending a large majority of your time. The third augment on this card is Cool, which increases the time it takes mounted machine guns to overheat by 50%. Not the best augment out there, but not bad for a third, especially considering that Rhino is going to be probably the best turret gunner in the game, simply because of his large health pool, and of course on a turret, speed doesn't matter. For weapons, the card comes with the Rimberg 7, the Smooth & Westsman, and the Cricket Bat, none of which you will really be using all that often, but if you need to, they are good options. And really, in my opinion, that's where loadout cards for Rhino stop and start. I mean, that's, I think, the best card. Now, one thing that is kind of funny that you can kind of pair with Rhino if you kind of want to make a super Rhino is to use another Merc that has tryhard. And if you happen to die a few times on your other Merc, switch to Rhino and you can have a 230 hit point Rhino. So it's kind of a little bit of a super Rhino there. I actually discovered this on accident. So yes, you can switch Mercs and still keep that tryhard bonus. But anyways, lastly, I do want to go over a few tips for playing Rhino. First and foremost, Rhino is at his best when guarding an objective or a choke point on a map. Having people funnel into you is going to play into all of your strengths and negate most of your weaknesses. You have to remember that even though he has a gigantic health pool, your sloth-like speed is going to make you much easier target to hit. So using these choke points are crucial. Also, getting caught in the open at range against anyone with an assault rifle is mostly going to end in your death. So when you are moving throughout the map, make sure you stick to cover. When guarding a checkpoint, you don't necessarily want to be right next to the entrance. If you give yourself about 10 meters, your minigun will still be in its effective range, and you will shield yourself from a lot of explosions and shotgun users that are going to peek around the corner. Now, if you do find yourself in a medium range fight, make sure to use very short bursts. This will limit your spread for better accuracy, as well as keep you a little more mobile and prevent you from overheating your minigun. As you've probably noticed in this video, very seldom do I actually just hold down the trigger. You'll be surprised just how accurate the minigun can be when you're burst firing it. Now, if you find yourself at long range, more than likely you're just going to want to run and find cover, similar to if you were using a shotgun, but not quite to that extreme. Now, there are times when your shotgun and pistol might be the best option, but like I said, it's very few and far between. The most notable times, however, are when you get a player right up in your face and is circle strafing you. Now, since your turn speed is so slow when spinning up your minigun, your shotgun will most likely be a better option for a quick hit. And also, if you just need to finish someone off who is about to duck behind cover, you don't have time to spin your minigun up, that's a good time to pull out your shotgun and finish them off. Now, my last tip on Rhino is to find an aura and beg her to drop a med station for you. Seriously though, throughout my time playing Rhino, I didn't get very much healing at all, and 200 health is great and all, but it also takes a very, very long time to regenerate without any medical assistance. So definitely pay attention to where your medics are on the map. But anyways guys, that is all I have. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.